Chris Waller joins us, and I'm going to ask him about a race, but he doesn't train a horse in the race. It's called the Everest, but Chris, you and your syndicate of owners have got deployed with Gerald Ryan.
Yeah, we didn't have everything fast enough this year, unfortunately, but we'll be working hard on it for next year. So yeah, we've chosen to deploy, and very happy with him. We made a strong case for selecting him, and we'll stick by that. And yeah, it's good to have the horse trained at Rose Hill where I train, and obviously see Gerald Ryan every morning, so I hope he wins the race and walks home with plenty of money in his pocket.
Well, Gerald said that. He said you see him every morning, Rose Hill, but he said you were the first bloke on him. He said, and Chris had belief in the horse, he said, before he did.
Well, what he's done's a pretty good job. I love horses when they win or run second. Like, just doesn't happen through coincidence when you're winning against those types of horses. You need to have that bit of X factor. So I think he's got that, and it's normally those horses that string wins together or run seconds go through and win your group races. So I think he ticks most of the boxes.
The deal that your syndicate and John and Pam Cornish, pretty easy to organise?
Yeah, very good. Great owners in the horse, that makes it so much easier, and I think it's pretty much knowing that it's just straight down the middle. Yeah, I don't know if I've got any confidentiality clauses in it, but 50-50, it's nothing to hide.
It's going to be a wonderful day, the Everest and all that. We all thought we'd see Winks here, but she's not, and I don't think it's any great loss now that we've seen the great race. Well, having her anywhere, but I'm saying, can you go back to last week about the mare? It was, I think I sent you a message after the race. Wow.
Yeah, simple as that. We've got the belief that she's going terrific all prep. She's come back bigger, stronger, and that was my only question, was she still carrying a bit of extra weight? With the trip down there she dropped 4 or 5 kilos, so it's probably inconclusive, but at least she came out and won, and she was authoritative. Look, our sectional times in Sydney were probably better than Melbourne's, but how do you look into that? I think you'll put Winks up against an opposition and she'll win. She's done it for 21 odd starts, and hopefully the same in the Cox Plate with a fair run. They have to improve to beat her, or she has to go backwards to be beaten. But if she races horses in the current form, she's a really, really good chance. It goes without saying.
Have you looked past the Cox Plate?
We think of everything, but we haven't gone into any depth other than that. There's always new challenges. I'm surprised no one said 4 Cox Plates.
Yeah, no one's ever done that.
But we haven't won 3 yet. So all we kept getting asked is, when will she go overseas? Well, that's certainly right on our priority list. But there's one thing a little bit higher on the priority list, and that's the horse. So she'll tell us where she's at after the Cox Plate. It's going to be her toughest test, this preparation. If she wins with authority, it opens up so many options to travel. And if she is open to travel and going to the other side of the world or wherever it may be and performing at her best, we'll go. If we don't think she can, well, it's not fair to take her. Not just for us, including myself, to see how she competes against the rest of them. For herself, she must go in the best possible position.
Yourself, Debbie, Richard and Peter will arrange that. But it's funny that the public, you got 50 saying, oh, she got overseas to prove herself, but the other 50 are saying, hang on, our prize money levels here in Australia are the best in the world, let them come here.
Well, that's how hard it is to travel. If it was that easy, everyone would be coming to Australia to run in the Everest, the Championships, the Cox Plate, the Melbourne Cup. A lot come for the Melbourne Cup. But there'd be a lot more if travelling was that easy, because as you said, our prize money would be double to what most of the feature races around the world, with the exception of Dubai, Hong Kong, maybe Breeders' Cup meeting. So yeah, it's a good question.
She's all right.
She's terrific. She's bounced through the race really well, and yeah, just got to hold it together, and we'll be having a bit of fun in a couple of weeks' time.
I won't go through every runner. It's all about the Everest and the wonderful MX. But you got some runners in Sydney and Melbourne. The Toorak in Melbourne, you've got a few runners.
Yeah, 4 runners. Tom Melbourne, who ran second to Happy Clapper, which is very good form. He's drawn wide again, so that's against him. Goes up in weight a little bit, and Lead Boss retains the ride. Coming through, he's drawn much better on Saturday.
Had no luck up last start.
None at all. He was 3 wide posted from his wide gate. He's drawn well. Michael Walker steps back aboard. He knows the horse really well. Be nice to see him race a bit closer. Egg Tart, she's in there.
How's she?
She's great.
Can she see?
Yeah, she can. As soon as we put on the anti-inflammatories, which is as simple as butte.
Yeah, you had to.
Can't
Once
race.
you put that on, you can't race.
Can't race for 7 days, and if you give them multiple doses, you've got to be a bit careful about even 8 or 9 days. So as soon as she got that anti-inflammatory, it took the irritation away and it just cleared up overnight. So she's trialled up here since that. She had a gallop at Caulfield Tuesday morning and got round there well with Ome Sword, who also runs.
What about Ome Sword? Stevie Baster's nearly the informed jockey in Victoria. I think he's ridden 6 of his last 14 rides winners.
Yeah, well, he'd be close to the fittest. Jeez,
Mate, I often train with him when I'm down there.
sure.
I just don't go down there much.
So she gets a chance from a good gate as well. She'll get a soft run, and hopefully it's her day to break through for a Group 1. But since she had that setback in the autumn, it's questionable whether she's come back the same.
Is there something just holding her back? Is that what, like?
Oh, once a horse has had a problem with their lungs, as she did, it is hard to get them back.
You're not going to guess, or just?
They're all worthy of.
Because if
winning.
you say this is the top pick, I back the other 3.
Tom Melbourne needs luck from the gate. Coming through, needs to prove himself at this level. Egg Tart, she's probably the one to beat because she's got the 2 Group 1s next to her name against her own sex, which is well weighted. Ome Sword, form's probably not as good as the other 3 going into the race.
I like Ome Sword.
Won't worry me.
Exactly right. Religify, you've sent it down there.
Yeah, he's going to head to Perth. Oh. So he had a good spell after Queensland, did a fantastic job there. He's not an Epsom or a two-rack horse, but he might be a railway horse. So
you've run a railway. You've won a railway.
Yeah. So he'll head there about his 3rd up run.
What about back home? The St Ledger, Libram, but also who shot the barman? I reckon he just might be 100% Saturday.
Would have loved to see him draw a good barrier, but doesn't really matter in 2600, or doesn't matter with the barman. Blake Shin rides. Libram was a touch disappointing of the 2 in the Metrop, but what both horses do is they drop to a more competitive weight. So the set weights and penalties certainly suits them, and they're both in good form in their track work since their last start run. What
about in the Craven Play? It was going to be the Winks charity race. McCreary and McIntosh.
Had a bit of criticism for not running in there, and I would have loved to run it there.
Criticism for what?
I won't name names.
Well, I'll just, they're fair to kidding.
Yeah, so we had to do the right thing by the horse, and I would have loved to have her there, but 3 weeks seemed logical, and it's how it's worked out. Had she been there, they'd probably get a 3 or 4 horse.
100%.
They've got full.
Well, Happy Clapper wouldn't have been there, and it's odds on.
Well, he's running 2nd to Winks. So, and they've got a full field. They've got emergencies, so work that way out. But anyhow, I'm not going to get upset by it. I've done the right thing by the horse. So, yeah, our 2 probably going to struggle. McCreary was a bit disappointing in the Epsom. McIntosh, just a little bit questionable at the 2,000 metre troops, but they're
the favourite.
Racing for good prize money. Yeah, you say that, but on a good track, I think Happy Clapper will be a good thing.
Anything else in the program? I saw one race you got 4 in.
Yeah, in the mile race we're well.
Oklahoma Girl, Jaminza, Vincebella, is it?
Yeah, she's in there, and there's one under there.
Jamie Spencer's on it.
Yep.
That one.
Black on gold.
Black on gold.
Yeah. So well represented there, with all either last start winners, or it could even all be last start winners.
Black on gold is. No, Oklahoma Girl ran 3rd in a good race.
She's probably run just as good as any of them. But first start ran a slasher behind Wayanka over the 1400. So
behind in the lock. Oh, that's right. It's a protest.
Well represented there. I think there's the fillies race. It's got 2 in there. Faith in Hand comes up from Melbourne, and Aonair, they're both in the regional Allen. There's probably a couple more there that I haven't spoken about.
You know what happened the other week? I haven't asked you since. You trained the first 2-year-old winner of the season. Like the look of the trainers.
Must be a good horse. Normally,
I'll tell you what, you're unlucky not to win the Breeders and the Gym Crack. Fiesta.
Yeah, we sure were. Normally our first 2-year-old winner of the season turns out to be a pretty good horse. One of them was Ome Sword, one of them was Brazen Bow.
That little chubby bloke, that little Ron Dubbers there, he was very excited about what was the name of the thing that won the Breeders? Performer.
Yeah. So he's gone to the paddock and he's not running the Magic Millions. So if anyone's betting on the Magic Millions, save your money. He's going to be saved for the autumn.
The slipper. Good luck on the weekend.
Thanks.
Do you want to win one, or would you rather see Gerald win Deploy?
I'd rather see Gerald win. Thank you.
Chris Waller, big weekend ahead, and they'll be cheering a stables runner Deploy in the Everest.